you sit in a busy coffee shop for an hour, you're guaranteed to see a very specific ritual. Someone will receive a drink, spend 3 minutes moving a sugar packet around, and then take 45 photos of themselves pretending to sip it. It's easy to roll our eyes and blame kids these days, or social media. But if we're being honest, we aren't doing anything new. We've just gotten much faster at a habit that's been around since we lived in caves. We like to think we're living in a unique era of self-obsession, but human beings have always been a little bit in love with their own reflection. The only thing that has actually changed is the barrier to entry. Back in the day, you needed a pile of gold and a very patient artist to see what you looked like. Now, you just need a thumb and a smartphone. The ego hasn't grown, it's just finally been given the tools it always wanted. Before we had cameras or even high-quality glass mirrors, most people went their entire lives with only a vague idea of what they looked like. They saw blurry reflections in puddles or polished bronze. Imagine the shock of finally seeing your own nose in high definition for the first time. That's where the obsession started. Once we finally caught a glimpse of ourselves, we became obsessed with making sure everyone else saw exactly what we wanted them to see. Long before Instagram filters, we had oil paintings. If you were a king or a queen, you didn't just sit there and let the artist paint your wrinkles or your bad skin. You paid them to be your human filter. Portraits from the 1600s were basically the original Facetune. The artist would make the king look taller, the queen look thinner, and everyone looked like they had never spent a day in the sun. It was the ultimate status symbol. Imagine having to sit perfectly still for 4 hours a day for 3 months, just so you could have a profile picture to hang in your hallway. That was the reality for the elite. It was a slow, painful process that most people couldn't afford. Self-importance was a luxury that required a massive investment of time and money. Today, we complain if our phone takes more than a second to process a portrait mode shot. We've definitely lost the patience, but kept the vanity. The very first photographic selfie happened in 1839, and it wasn't a teenage girl. It was a guy named Robert Cornelius. He had to set up his camera, run into the frame, and stand perfectly still for about 15 minutes because the technology was so slow. If you look at the photo, he looks a bit disheveled and unsure. It's the original, candid shot. He didn't do it for likes. He did it to see if the technology even worked. For a long time, photography stayed serious. Cameras were heavy, expensive, and complicated. But then came the Kodak Brownie in the early 1900s. Suddenly, regular people could take photos of their own lives. We started seeing the first mirror selfies from this era, women in long dresses holding a boxy camera up to a vanity mirror. Even back then, without a post button, we felt the need to capture our image just for the sake of having it. Fast forward to the 1970s, and the Polaroid changed the game again. It gave us instant gratification. You didn't have to wait a week for the pharmacy to develop your film. You just waited 60 seconds for the colors to appear on a piece of plastic. This was the birth of the party selfie. It was the first time we could take a silly photo, see it immediately, and laugh about it. The disposable nature of our self-image started right here. Did you know the front-facing camera wasn't actually invented for selfies? It was originally designed for business video calls, the kind of boring meetings that could have been an email. But the second we got our hands on it, we collectively ignored the business part and turned the lens on ourselves. We turned a productivity tool into a global mirror. It was the moment the selfie went from a rare event to a daily chore for our thumb. We all have that one side of our face we prefer. We tilt our heads, we find the light, and we know exactly which angle makes us look like a human, and which one makes us look like a thumb. Psychologists say we actually prefer the left side of our faces because it shows more emotion. We've become amateur scientists of our own anatomy, studying our reflections more deeply than a surgeon, all just to make sure a stranger on the internet thinks we're cute. There is a secret labor behind the effortless selfie. You know the one. You take a photo, look at it, hate it, and take another. Then you change the lighting. Then you move your hair. By the time you find the one you actually like, your camera roll has 114 identical photos of your face. We spend so much time trying to look natural that we end up performing a highly choreographed play where we are the only actor and the only audience. Why do we do it? It's not just about looking at ourselves, it's about the ding. Every like and comment is a tiny digital pat on the head. Our brains are wired to love social approval. In the past, you got that approval by being a good hunter or a kind neighbor. Now, you get it by having good lighting in your bathroom. We've outsourced our self-esteem to a bunch of pixels and a heart icon that disappears the second we scroll away. If you go to a famous landmark today, you'll see something depressing. People standing with their backs to the monument. They aren't looking at the Grand Canyon. They are looking at their phone to make sure the Grand Canyon is in the frame with them. We've reached a point where being there isn't enough. We need proof that we were there and that we looked good while doing it. The experience has become secondary to the evidence of the experience. Part 14. We've come full circle back to the oil paintings. Filters have become the new royal artist. We can change our eye color, smooth our skin, and even change the shape of our jawline with a swipe. We are creating versions of ourselves that don't actually exist in the physical world. It's a strange kind of digital ghost, a version of you that lives on the internet but would be unrecognizable if someone saw you in the grocery store at 8 a.m. Watching someone take a selfie in public is one of the best free comedy shows on earth. There's that moment where they check if anyone is looking. Then they freeze into a model pose for 3 seconds, and then they immediately go back to looking bored as they check the result. It's a weird glitch in human behavior. We've become performance artists in our everyday lives, constantly switching between real me and internet me, like we're living in a low-budget movie. There's a growing anxiety about being seen unfiltered. We've become so used to the polished, edited version of ourselves that the raw, unedited version feels like a mistake. It's a weird psychological trap. We know everyone else is filtering their lives too, but we still compare our behind the scenes to their highlight reel. We're all playing a game where we know the rules are fake, but we still feel like we're losing if we don't have enough like. The average person looks at their reflection more in one day than our ancestors did in an entire year. Having a mirror in your pocket at all times has changed how we think about our bodies. We are constantly monitoring ourselves, checking for flaws and fixing our hair. It's a lot of mental weight to carry. We've become the protagonists of our own Truman Show, but we're also the director, the cameraman, and the worried producer checking the ratings. Some people say selfies are a way to connect, to say, this is me, and I'm here. And maybe that's true. It's a way of sharing our lives with people who are far away. But there's a fine line between sharing and performing. When we focus so much on how we look while living, we often forget to actually live. We're so busy documenting the party that we don't realize we're the only ones not actually having any fun. Our ancestors left behind bones, pottery, and maybe a few letters. We're going to leave behind 10,000 photos of our brunch and 500 shots of us trying to look pensive in a park. It's a strange legacy. Future historians will have more photos of us than they know what to do with, but they might still have no idea who we actually were. We're leaving behind a mountain of, look at me, without much, this is what I thought. So, the next time you're about to take that 50th photo of your face, maybe just don't, or do. It doesn't really matter. The ink, the paint, and the pixels will keep changing, but our desire to be seen will always be there. Just remember that the most interesting version of you isn't the one with the perfect filter. It's the one that's actually looking out at the world instead of back at the screen. Sleep well, put the phone down, and try to enjoy being invisible for a while.